Okay, well, thanks for joining tonight, guys. We are going to cover part 2 of the research. And let's see, we left off on DNA last time. So this time, and we covered a number of things: oxidative stress and DNA. Let's see if I can review it really quickly with you guys. What sets Juice Plus apart, where to find the research, oxidative stress, what that is, and how it's a culprit in all types of diseases, what we found, and then that led to less damage to the DNA because you don't have as much oxidative stress. And so now we're going to look at the immune system. And you can always watch that other video on our Team Transformers Facebook group. There's the recording. Okay, so basically we've learned a lot from Wendy Campbell, who explains our research really well about the immune system. And so in our immune system, our T cells are in charge and our B cells are supposed to listen to our T cells. And what happens in an autoimmune disorder is that the B cells are running rampant, attacking the body, and the T cells are like on a coffee break. Well, what they found within 80 days of Juice Plus was the T cells increased and the natural killer cells increased. And that's really what we want, right? We want that. And so I always say, you're getting a better immune system within 80 days. So I put a link in here. I can't remember what that was. That must have been the journal. Let's see where that goes. These journals are all on juiceplus.com, and then it leads to the actual abstract. The link is on juiceplus.com, and it leads to the abstract. So here it is. And you can look at the P levels. You can look really quickly at the P levels. This is significant increases in antioxidants. And so you can look at the different antioxidants: lutein, zeaxanthin, up, beta carotene, or no, that's alpha carotene, beta carotene, lycopene, alpha tocopherol. So anyway, you can look at that and see all the different P values, and P value of 0.05 right here is significant. So when it's P value of 0.0001, that's like huge. So our P values are very significant. Our studies can be short because they're at the cellular level, and you see significant results right away at the cellular level. Problem is when people are like, okay, what's going to happen to me physically outside? That doesn't always happen right away, but at the cellular level, it's happening. So, and then let's see, they found fruit and vegetable extract supplementation significantly enhanced multiple measures of immune function in elderly subjects and improved, I don't know what that is, IL-2 levels in smokers. So anyway, that was just a brief summary. I'm not going to stay on that. But that was one of the very first studies. Remember, there were 3 initial studies. One was antioxidants going up with oxidative stress going down as measured by lipid peroxides. Second study was the DNA study, showing within 80 days your DNA strand breakage is 66% less. And then the third study is within 80 days, your immune system is better. Those are the 3 studies that mean the most to me. So you guys can always just go to those 3 studies: oxidative stress, immune system, and DNA. If you want to talk about studies at all, you don't have to. But that should really just get your confidence going that down at the cellular level, Juice Plus is working. So whether you feel it on the outside or not, these studies have been done on all populations, all ages, things like that. So other immune system studies so what that does when they have more studies, it confirms, those initial studies. University of Florida college students, they had less symptoms. Cobra elite athletes, they had less days missed. Healthcare professionals in Europe, I always come up with this line, and I think the Juice Plus community did, based on the findings. We say, they found less duration and severity. Those 2 things, less duration and severity. And we've seen this in our own lives, right, of cold and flu-like symptoms. Like the colds, sometimes they come in your throat, then they go back out. And then if you do have one, usually you don't end up with antibiotics. So there's less duration, meaning less days, and less severity. I know that I have not had antibiotics for like over a decade due to Juice Plus, which is awesome. Some of the favorite studies of doctors are the heart study, which we're going to look at with the trio, and then and the fact that there's better circulation, and then less systemic inflammation, which you guys mentioned, that is a biomarker of disease, inflammation. We want to reduce the inflammation as much as possible. When I'm doing a health talk, I'll say increase your plants, decrease your animal to reduce inflammation. That's very important. They need to increase plants all day long, decrease animal. That means meat, dairy of any kind from any animal. Another thing to look at, like if you were to look at eggs or omegas, they say like omega-9, that's inflammatory, but omega-3 is not inflammatory, and that's supposed to be equal. But in America, we eat a lot of inflammatory foods, and we don't have enough of the good fat. So those are supposed to actually be equal so that they don't inflame our body. So everything is about, like you guys said, inflammation, reducing that inflammation. So we're going to look at that. But let's look at the heart study first. So they took people to McDonald's, and in this study at University of Maryland, they took people to McDonald's, gave them 2 hash browns, 2 McMuffins to induce blood vessel constriction. They had already done this many, many times, knowing that's like their area of study. And they wanted people to eat fruits and vegetables, but people are not compliant. So they were happy to find Juice Plus because it's easy to have that daily habit. And so they measured their blood vessel constriction, and everybody was constricted, which means like their blood vessels are open, but after the high-fat meal, they're a little bit closed. Same with high-intensity exercise, that can happen. And there's a window, and you don't know what's already happening in your blood vessels, so it's really scary to have that window of constriction, 40 to 60% for 4 to 6 hours. You're at risk. So that was the baseline measure for everybody who had that high-fat meal. And this is apropos for Thanksgiving too. You know, people are going to be eating high-fat meals. So the first set of people received a placebo, which looked like Juice Plus but wasn't Juice Plus. Second set was fruits and vegetables. And then the third set was fruits, vegetables, berries. The berries were made after the fruits and vegetables, and they were made specifically for heart and circulation and to finish the rainbow of the blues and the purples, because every color of fruits and vegetables does something. So anyway, they all went on their way with their pills. First group placebo, second group 20 fruits and vegetables, third group 30 fruits and vegetables, right, with the vineyard. So what they found when they came back, they had that same high-fat meal, 2 hash browns, 2 McMuffins, and they induced that blood vessel constriction by having that high-fat meal. The placebo group, there was no change, and that was 40 to 60% constriction for 4 to 6 hours again. The Orchard and Garden blend, the 20 fruits and vegetables, reduced that constriction by 62%. That alone could have made it so it's published in the Journal of American College of Cardiology, because that was significant. But then they added the Vineyard group, or they looked at the Vineyard group with the Orchard and Garden, and they said it basically eliminated the detrimental effect of the high-fat meal. So adding that extra 10 berries, grape skins, that helped a lot to make the constriction go away altogether. But anyway, there's some things to take from that. First of all, more matters. So yes, fruits and vegetables helped to reduce that blood vessel constriction, because what happens, as Dr. Sears explains it, is our body has its own internal pharmacy. We need to feed it the right foods. So when you feed it the fruits and vegetables in concentrated form, your body's going to work better. Your body has the pharmacy to do what it needs to do. And our endothelial lining needs to be elastic. It needs to expand and contract. And so the phytonutrients feed those cells and our body works better. And then when you give it all the colors and you give it the Vineyard blend, the blues and the purples, then more matters. Just like the campaign says with the government, more matters. So the more fruits and vegetables, the better. And what our healthcare professionals who are in our network say is that we can't have enough fruits and vegetables. We really need as many as possible every day. And way back when, they said we need like 20 a day. So it's important that we get that across to people that, you know, we shouldn't be aiming for the lowest minimum in America, which says 7 to 9, and thinking, you know, that we can get away with Let's see, ketchup, salsa, French fries, iceberg lettuce, bananas, grapes. We really need those dark, dense ones. We need raw. We need vine ripen as much as possible. So Juice Plus as a daily habit really helps a lot. Okay, so that was the Journal of the American College Cardiology study, and you can find that on juiceplus.com. Okay, so we're going to move on to another heart study. So that was a heart study. Here's another heart study. Homocysteine. Homocysteine is a biomarker of any disease. So it measures kind of how close you are to disease, and it's a toxic metabolite. And in the homocysteine study, the increase in folate actually helped to reduce the homocysteine. And they also found better endothelial lining, just like in the last study. And this was a double-blind, placebo-controlled study, which I didn't mention that for everything, but most of our studies are. And they found that it lowered their homocysteine. I want to explain it better. I don't like the order I have it in here. Okay, so down at the bottom it says results inversely were related to cardiovascular disease. Okay, so as it shouldn't be inversely related, I don't think. Anyway, what they found, I'll just take the slide off for a minute so I can explain it the way I like to explain it. Okay, homocysteine is a biomarker of any disease. What they found with people who were eating great, and I think it was Australia, and I use this when people say I eat plenty of fruits and vegetables. You know, there's lots of things we could say. We could ask them questions. We could say, oh, that's great and all that. But when it comes down to when I'm going to speak, I'll say, you know what, they found that people went to even more optimal levels of homocysteine, that you can be even healthier. You know, people think that their normal is the ultimate normal, but what if they could be even at a healthier level? And that's what they showed with the homocysteine levels. With those people, they already were healthy eaters, but once they started taking Juice Plus, they had a significant enough to be in a research journal, a significant enough decrease in their homocysteine levels, which homocysteine, as I said, is a biomarker to how close you are to any disease. And it's a great measure if you ever want to get it done at the doctor's office. You might have to say you have heart problems in your family in order for them to write it. But that's how I learned about homocysteine, okay? Then when they looked at smokers have a very high homocysteine level. And what they found after using Juice Plus, they were able to bring them down to normal. So the normal people went to like an even more optimal level. The smokers went down to normal, which was pretty amazing. All right, so I'll go back to my screen because it confused me to death. Okay, let's see. I'm going to go to the next one really quickly. Okay, and I think I've already summarized this. Yes. Okay. Let's see. A couple more things. Oh, this is the inflammation study. Okay. Oh, can't move my people. Okay, the inflammation study used the Orchard, Garden, and Vineyard blend, and they found less systemic inflammation. So inflammation is tied to any disease, and so that was done at University of South Carolina. That is the major study. There were then 4 other studies that were done after that that just kind of reinforced it. And so that is awesome. I know one of the first times I ran across somebody, a doctor who was interested in inflammation, it's when they're about to do surgery. It's one of the tests that they do to see whether or not they should have that surgery. If you have too much inflammation in the body, they won't do that surgery. Now it's kind of common knowledge that we need to reduce inflammation in the body, especially systemic inflammation, meaning your body's always inflamed, and that's a way to reduce it with Juice Plus. So I wanted to show you this, that with any kind of disease, or if you know the results of some of our studies, you can just put in like homocysteine and whatever disease, and you can read about it. And most likely the homocysteine, the higher the homocysteine, the more, you know, they have that disease, or they have a high homocysteine level with that disease. Same with systemic inflammation. See how I just started to Google it, and it's got all those different things that systemic inflammation is kind of tied to. You know, so you can look at our studies and say, well, what about this? What about that? And I learned this many years ago when I was looking up autism. I found they have higher oxidative stress, they have more inflammation, they have higher homocysteine levels. So even though I can't say to a mom of a child with autism, your child's going to look you in the eye, they're going to have better language, they're going to have, all the things that maybe they're going to therapy for, I can say, the studies on Juice Plus show that it lowers their oxidative stress in the bloodstream, it lowers their homocysteine levels, it helps them to not be as inflamed, and they actually have higher levels of all those things. Juice Plus will reduce that, and then we don't really know what's going to happen after that. Some of the ways in which you can find summaries of these research studies are on campbellteam.net with the password Campbell Team. You can search research, and then there's handouts on the virtual office under news, and then juiceplus.com, the research results and the expert reviews, which I'm going to show you some of those really quickly, just as a refresher. Okay, hold on one sec. So if I go to Google and I go to the Juice Plus site, juiceplus.com, and I want to look at, let's see, the research underway. No, not the research underway, the research results. There we go. You can see all of them. So the ones we looked at tonight was heart health. And there's all these different studies on heart health. Some of them show like less calcium deposits. Some of them even show better pulmonary function with smokers. They all show, some of them show like less blood pressure and less oxidized cholesterol. And sometimes people, when it comes to cholesterol, they're worried about cholesterol, but they need to be worried about oxidated cholesterol, and that's what we reduce within 28 days is oxidative stress. So then that leads to less oxidized fats. So it's really important. So all the studies show great results with Juice Plus. Okay, so that was heart health. And then here we looked at the immune system. So the very first study was the one I told you about, integrative medicine, but there's the University of Florida study with the law students, and they had other things they looked at too, less DNA damage, the University of Graz, Austria, all these different places. Here's the one where it's at the Charité Hospital, where they found less severity and duration of cold and flu-like symptoms. So that's the immune system area, and then systemic inflammation. So here are the different ones. The South Carolina study is the best one on that, and the other ones are very supportive that there's less systemic inflammation. And so that just leaves some other studies, which I might do a different time, but I think that will get you on your way to knowing more about the research. So let me go ahead and ask if there's any questions. Unmute, and I'll leave the recording on for a few minutes.
I even bought her some.
You guys are
I bought some short set ones. This one is blue.
Okay.
And yeah.
Okay, you guys can unmute it or raise your hand if you want to ask a question, and I'll keep the recording on for a few minutes. Oh, I can't see all of you. Let's see. Okay, does anybody have a question? Just unmute yourself if you do.
I just have one question, and that is, would you consider doing the others? I think this is really great, and because most people don't get an opportunity to really understand more about what the research is. I mean, we do it because that's what we do, but I think this is great. I don't know how everybody else feels about it, but I think it's great for people to be able to have it broken down for them in that way. With the visual.
Thank you, Dr. Nalani. Okay. Yes, you've convinced me. I will do it. As long as nobody's getting too much of this. Okay. What questions do you guys have about any of the studies or where to find anything? Tatiana, go ahead. Okay, it says you're unmuted. I can't hear you though. Let's see. You're unmuted, but we can't hear you.
You can't.
Oh, wait, no. Almost. Okay, I'm going to at least go ahead and turn off the recording. Hold on.